Greetings, everybody. I'm going to give an update on the latest of the, debugging some of the problems I found in my Texas Hold'em game. So, as everybody's probably aware of, the problems inlay with if you have two players that have the same winning hand, you need to make sure that whoever has the best hole cards at that point would be the winner. And it hasn't been doing that until I had to write something in there that would help. And as you can see, I have basically put something together where I get a list of everyone's hole cards here. It just iterates until it gets all of them. And then it tells me who has the best ones. Now, the negative ones are the people who are out of the game. That means, so as we evaluate the cards, we say, does this person have the winning hand? And if not, then I need to take that and put it to -1. Otherwise, it could screw up the game. So that means that person's out. And then from there, as you can see, I got the best hole cards, and then I go for who has the top of all the hole cards they have, who has the highest. And this is a list of all the hot players' highest cards. 12 would represent an ace over here. Now, herein lays where the problem was, because we were already getting that most of the time. But it was like, okay, well, what happens if, we got to go to the lowest, who has the highest? Or when they have two cards, which one has the highest of the second highest? So what I've done here is written something called player 2. Like, as you can see, I wrote player 2 wins with the highest low card, which 3 represents a 5. And then, as you can see, with the highest low card here, an 8 represents a 10. So it's 2 underneath what the number says. Okay, so that being the case, here is a good example of where you have somebody that has a full house and they have kings as well. Well, so does this person. All right, well, if that being the case, who has the highest low card? And as you can see here, I've written that this person over here, the player 3, and it's player 4, it iterates, so technically it's player 4. But since I'm player 0, you get it. Anyway, so how did I do this, and where does it all start? So there's something called best hole cards, and this is what I've created. I probably could have built it in another way, but this was the most straightforward one for me. So I need to basically, if you look around the 525 lines, all this is new, and it's replacing this very simple piece. It's much more complicated now, but it also does a better evaluation of the hand. So I find out ultimately, we all know that we're at a point here where I ask, is there more than one player that has won? And here we start talking about, okay, well, what if it's who has the highest straight, and if there's a split, if they have equally the same highest straight. And we go through and look through the evaluation of the two pairs and who has the highest of the two pairs. And as you can see here, the non-winners are turning into -1, so that, like I said, that way we know they're out and it doesn't mess up anything in the future. So where does this all start for this new thing? The best hole card concept initially starts here. And as you can see here, I just called it, it's nothing really yet. But then I have to evaluate it. After every player has gone through game step 1, I go through and evaluate all their cards, their hole cards. So basically, as you can see here, I find out, I make an array that's the length of, it's got, each player has an object. And so there's 4 objects in this array. And within these objects, there's 2 arrays within themselves. So ultimately, as you can see here, best hole cards is a length of 4, but in each 4 there's 2, if that makes sense, because everybody's got 2 cards. And that's game step 1. So here we get them all, and we start to analyze and collect what they are. One thing I want to mention here is, as you can see, I'm going through and building 4 objects and putting them into an array. And I'm also doing something here where I'm sorting it out. So I want the first card in each player's array to be the lowest card, and the second card in their individual array to be the higher card. So that way I can kind of compare them in order. So everyone's higher card will be, the second one, and everyone's lower card will be the first. That's just a key element in evaluating later on in this part of the game. And now, as you can see here, after I've collected them, I'm coming through and saying, find out if this person is in the winning hand, and then we're going to have to put these to -1, just like the others, so that they don't. Let's say this person had really good hole cards, but they didn't have the winning hand. This is where that would come into play. Like, this person didn't win, so they need to be out by a -1. Here's where it all comes into. Let me see here. This would be the highest straight. And as you can see, like we said, you're looking for the highest pair. And here's where it all comes together. This is our new stuff. Let's say that, as we just saw, somebody has a winning hand, and there's more than one person with the same winning hand. So I'm going to run through and find out who has the best hole card. Now, initially, I'm calling it a high hole and low hole, 0. This is where it starts out at. And I go through each one of these players' hole cards. And if it's bigger than what high or low already was, it gets replaced to the new one. And so ultimately, if it turns out that an individual has the highest card, I'm saying this person has the highest one. And that's that. However, if for some reason they both have the same card, as it says here, if it ever equals the same one, now we got to forget about all that and start going for the lowest, or the lowest high card. So each player has their highest card and their lowest card. Whose lowest card is the highest is what I'm getting at. And so here we start to deli that up the same exact way. So as you can see here, there's only 2 of them. So we're going through the low, and up here would be going through the high. As you can see, 1, and then here is 0. And that's how you figure it out. We've already sorted these, as you can. I don't remember if I told you that yet. Oh, no, wait, I took that part out. I just took that part out. For the most part, what we're going to do... Yeah, that's an old part. Where were we? Okay, good. So, as I was saying, this here, this is where the one point I didn't bring up very well. This part here is if they have the exact same hole cards. As you can see, this person has equaled out the same card here, and they equaled out the same card here. And not only that, one of them's me because of the 0. If that's me, then the split card, I split. Otherwise, I'll just let the players, figure it out themselves. The only time I'll ever stop it is if it's me. And this, basically, as you can see, what I was doing in the past is very similar, but not as specific on the hole cards. So that's the news, and I hope it makes sense to everybody. As you can tell, we do have other unfortunate things that, let me see if I can grab this in my finder. I will be chasing down more instances, for instance here. As you can see, sometimes I don't know where this is coming from. Like, I have no idea why a pair of 2s beats any of this. So it's weird. Sometimes I feel like the JavaScript has an error, and this is just as it plays out. Like we all have a straight here, and I assume this guy has the higher straight. So I don't get it. I mean, it typically does it correct most of the time. Like, let's say I'll be playing the game, maybe like once out of every 30 or 40 rounds, it'll be like a fluke. I'm like, usually it calculates correctly, and then all of a sudden it's like, not this time. And sometimes it's me. Sometimes I find that I wasn't precise enough. And then sometimes it's like, I think something messed up, which is hard to believe. It's clearly something in my code that's not checking itself. So this is an ongoing project. This is why I have it running beta testing on top, because it's not done. This is extremely difficult to test because you have to wait till you get the hand to see if it worked. But that's kind of how it goes. And so I've been taking screenshots so I can record when and where I had a problem so I can address it. But, I mean, all in all, I'm going to take out all these here. As you can see, they're kind of... This is clearly, you could figure out who has what hole card here. I mean... So, yeah, so as you can see, it is organizing these as, here's my lowest card, to my highest one is always the second one. I have it basically is where it sets it up to the highest one goes to that side. I mean, as you can see, it's never going to get to those points that we were talking about, unless they have a reason to. Like if somebody has the similar hand, and then we bypass it otherwise. That's pretty much how it goes.